very good evening and welcome at 6, where we get you the day's top developing stories. I'm Tracy Shilshi, and in the next 30 minutes, I'll be getting you through all the top stories from India and across the world. Let's start with the headlines. Tension continues in Gujarat. More army troops are called in as death toll in the Patidar agitation rises to 9. High Court orders a probe into the alleged police excesses. A second Pakistani terrorist is caught in Kashmir. 22-year-old Sajjad Ahmed was part of a 5-member gang of alleged infiltrators. Markets surge by over 500 points as Sensex makes a smart recovery after encouraging signs from China. Government unveils a list of 98 cities for its Smart Cities project. Uttar Pradesh tops with 13 places earmarked to be smart cities. And after a 29-hour countdown, ISRO launches the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle D6. India's latest communication satellite GSAT-6 is put into orbit. Our top story this evening, the Gujarat High Court has issued a notice to the Ahmedabad police chief asking him to probe the alleged police excesses during protests by the Patel community over the demand for reservation. He has been asked to complete the probe in 2 weeks. Tension prevailed in the state today as the death toll rose to 9. While curfew remains imposed, army too was deployed in more parts of the state to tackle the situation.
The Prime Minister's home state remains tense 2 days after clashes over the Patel community's agitation left 9 people dead. More forces have been deployed as violence triggered by detention of Hardik Patel spread to different parts of the state. Normal life has been hampered in many places amid stepped-up security. All schools remain shut in Ahmedabad, all state government-run buses remain off the roads, and internet services on mobile phones have been suspended. Train services have also been hit.
आर्मी के 2 कॉलम डिप्लॉय हुए हैं जिनका फ्लैग मार्च अभी शुरू किया है शहर में. कल पीस कमेटी की मीटिंग भी हुई थी और जो आंदोलन जिन लोगों ने शुरू किया है और जो उसमें शामिल हैं और जो लोग उसको सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं उनको भी आइडेंटिफाई करके उनके साथ भी मीटिंग पुलिस स्टेशन लेवल पे की गई थी. सूरत की शहर के लोगों के लिए एक ही संदेश है कि अफवाहों पर ध्यान नहीं दें, शांति रखने में पुलिस की मदद करें.
The Gujarat High Court has asked Ahmedabad's top cop to probe the clashes on Tuesday. The police had lathi-charged agitating patidars at the GMDC ground, sparking widespread violence across the state. The convener of the Patel agitation, Hardik Patel, has once again blamed the state government for the crackdown. He has also demanded higher compensation for the victims.
पहले पुलिस है, दूसरे नंबर गवर्नमेंट और तीसरे नंबर पर कुछ असामाजिक लोग. पहले तो जीएमडीसी ग्राउंड पर जो भी पुलिस अधिकारी थे उनको सस्पेंड किया जाना चाहिए इमीडिएटली. दूसरे नंबर पर जहाँ जहाँ पर बच्चों की मौत हुई वहाँ पर जो अधिकारी नहीं, हम अधिकारी को नहीं बोलेंगे, जो कांस्टेबल है, पीआई है, पीएस है, उन लोगों को सस्पेंड कीजिए और भगवान जो शहीद हुए उनकी आत्मा को शांति दे. बस हमारा यही संदेश है.
In an attempt to intensify the agitation in the state, Patel also asked farmers of his community not to supply essential commodities like vegetables and milk to cities to support their demand for reservation under the OBC quota. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
For more on the developing situation in Ahmedabad, we've got a correspondent, Vishal Daya, joining us now on the phone line. Vishal, if you can give us an update of how things stand this evening.
Well, Tracy, as of now, the life, in all those areas which were put under curfew seems to be returning to normal. Specifically in Surat, what we are being told by the authorities is that 2 police stations where the curfew was put in place yesterday has been now removed. Those curfew orders have been taken back. In Ahmedabad, though, 9 police stations were under curfew, and the curfew still continues, but the police authorities and the local administration are, allowing people to move around freely, and vehicles as well. In an apparent exercise to, instill sort of confidence within the common people out here that life is indeed coming back to normalcy. But if you look at the real issue behind all this and the agitation which was going on, then both sides, that the Patel community as well as the state government, seems to be holding on to their respective stance as of now. And as you heard in the report, we also spoke around around an hour ago. We had a detailed conversation on camera with the leader of this agitation, 22-year-old Hardik Patel, and he still is adamant upon the fact that the Patel community will not settle down for anything less than the reservation for them within the 27% prescribed limit of the OBC. So that's one demand they have. Secondly, as we heard in the report, they are asking for strong action against those police officers who were involved in the lathi charge and other action taken against their supporters. And thirdly, compensation for those who have been killed or injured in this entire incident which unfolded in last 24 to 36 hours.
Yes.
But there is also a sort of a discord between two different factions within the Patel community.
Okay.
And one of them, which is being led by Hardik Patel, other being led by Lalji Bhai Patel. Both of them seem to be at divergent angles, viewpoints as of now.
Right.
One side seems to be in a mood to carry on the agitation, whatever the results may be. And the second side, that's led by Lalji Patel,
Yeah,
seem
perhaps,
to be pretty
perhaps
interested
looking
in
at that
having a
indication, the
conversation with
government is just trying to wait it out and perhaps see that on its own, the Patel agitation just dies down on its own. Thanks, Vishal, for joining us with those details. In fact, trying to get a better, picture of what exactly the Patel agitation is about. We've got a special correspondent of The Statesman, Ratin Das, joining us on the phone line as well. Ratin, if you could give us an idea really about the Patel agitation, like our correspondent was just pointing out, there seems to be a division within the group as well. And hopefully the government is at least hoping that this is perhaps the reason why the agitation will slowly die down.
No, you see, from the beginning, the agitation had no particular leader except this new boy coming up, this Hardik Patel. So even while the rally was on, there was a difference of opinion whether the BJP and the chief minister and the prime minister be criticized or not. So this was the point on which these two leaders, the so-called leaders, the Hardik Patel and Lalji Patel, broke off at the stage itself, even while the rally was on. So, and there is a definite division among the agitators that whether they really want OBC included in the OBC category or they want abolition of reservation system altogether. So that is the tagline of these people, that if you cannot give reservation to us,
Yes.
then let us abolish the whole reservation system altogether. So this is one aspect of the agitation that has to be looked into.
What do you think, Ratin, is going to be the government's stand, at least, or the government's position at this point? Though right now, they're just trying to bring in the army, trying to make sure that there's calm on the streets. But eventually, they will have to perhaps sit with the Patel community, whoever is going to be the representative eventually, and try and work it out. The government, of course, saying that there's a 50% reservation cap for every state, which, of course, Gujarat has reached, which is why they have no option at this moment. And if at all anyone needs reservation, they need to approach the Supreme Court. Is that what the government is going to be sticking with?
No, that exactly is the case, and that was the point Chief Minister was insisting from day one, that the reservation have reached the saturation point and there is no more scope for reservation, because even if you give the reservation, anybody will go to the Supreme Court and it will be struck down. And this cannot go on and on. And it is this argument of the Chief Minister is valid irrespective of the argument that Patels are rich community, Patels are influential community, this and that. Irrespective of that,
Yes.
the Chief Minister's argument that no more reservations will be allowed by the Constitution or the Supreme Court. So there is no compromise or no negotiation on this point at least. Now it is the question of on the law and order, which is fortunately coming to normalcy as of now, it seems. And with the major festival of Raksha Bandhan day after tomorrow, I think
Yes.
it will phase out and die down. All
Hopefully,
the violence.
yes.
Violence has already stopped since last night, and army stage
Presence is being
march
seen
and all
everywhere.
that.
Yes, yes. All right, we leave it there, Mr. Das. Thanks so much for joining us, giving us an update really on what is the situation at the moment. In fact, talking about this issue, the opposition, though, questioning the Prime Minister Modi's Gujarat model of development amid the ongoing quota agitation. CPM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri, in fact, saying that the agitation for OBC quota by the well-to-do Patel community has exposed BJP's Gujarat model of development, proving that it is not an inclusive model. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi also directly accusing Modi's politics for the anger of the Patel community and the current situation in Gujarat.
मोदी जी हमारे जो प्रधानमंत्री हैं, उन्होंने हिंदुस्तान में गुस्से की राजनीति की है, एक व्यक्ति को दूसरे व्यक्ति से लड़ाने की राजनीति की है। जब गुस्से की राजनीति की जाती है तो उसके देश पे असर आते हैं, असर होते हैं। वही आपको गुजरात में दिखाई दे रहा है।
It is extremely unfortunate and a very sad commentary on what kind of politics Mr. Rahul Gandhi is trying to practice. There is no appeal for peace, for calm. When you are seeing that there is a tension there, people are suffering, property is being damaged, people have lost their lives. There is no concern for any of that. All that he is concerned about is scoring a political point, almost like adding fuel to fire.
What Mr. Hardik Patel is agitating for is symptomatic of a much larger malaise which reflects the reality of Gujarat. Behind the image created by a great deal of organized propaganda of vibrant Gujarat is another image of Gujarat where 1/3 of the people of Gujarat are below the poverty line, in spite of the fact that Gujarat has always been one of the more developed states.
In other news, security forces today nabbed a Pakistani militant during an encounter in Rafiabad in Jammu and Kashmir's Baramulla district. The arrested terrorist was identified as 22-year-old Sajjad Ahmed from Muzaffargarh in southwest Pakistan. He is now being shifted to Srinagar for questioning. 4 of his associates were killed in the gun battle. 1 was killed in the encounter yesterday, while the other 3 were killed today. 1 soldier, too, was injured yesterday. Sajjad is the second Pakistani militant to be captured alive this month after Lashkar-e-Toiba operative Mohammad Naveed's arrest on the 5th of August.
And it will provide us a very important leads for security agencies to get into the bottom of the organizations and their modules. It will be a great effort on our part to really move beyond and to make categorically very clear that the Pakistan's involvement is not a question of allegation, but it's a reality.
Once again, after Naveed, before was Kasab, now another person has been caught, a terrorist has been caught in Uri sector. It just goes to show the design by which the Pakistan is being guided, and therefore they didn't want the UFA agreement to succeed.
A live terrorist will obviously help us. After interrogation, I'm sure more evidence will pile up against the Pakistan government or the Pakistani army and help India in its international position on Pakistan.
And now turning focus to global markets, it went into correction mode today after a top official of the US Fed Reserve ruled out a September rate hike over growth concerns. Asian markets rebounded after encouraging signs from China, where market volatility dropped off significantly. The Indian benchmark indices, BSE Sensex, surged 2% to settle at 26,231. The 50-share Nifty barometer also climbed 2% to close at 7,948. In the Chinese market, the Shanghai Composite Index ended up 5.3% at 3,083. The Hang Seng, in fact, in Hong Kong was up 3.2%, closing at 21,758. In Japan, the Nikkei rose a little over 1%, ending the day at 18,574. In the US, in fact, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished just about 4% lower, and in fact, ending business at 16,285. The S&P 500 index gained 3.9% to close at 1,940, while the Nasdaq Composite added 4.24% to finish at 4,697. In fact, analysts now saying that after the US Fed Reserve ruled out its rate cut, prospects of a rate cut by the RBI have brightened. The bank's next policy review meet is on the 20th of September. The government today declared the nominations for the NDA government's flagship program, the Smart City Mission. The list includes 24 state capitals with Uttar Pradesh heading it. However, key names like Patna, Kolkata and Bengaluru are missing. Here's more.
The government kick-starting its flagship Smart Cities program. 98 locations will be developed as smart cities. 2 other will join the list later, 1 each from Jammu and Kashmir and Uttar Pradesh. UP heads the list with 13 smart cities. Tamil Nadu follows with 12. Maharashtra has 10. Madhya Pradesh will have 7, while 3 each are in Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. Bengaluru, Patna, Trivandrum, Kolkata and Puducherry don't find a place on the list. The names were selected through intra-city competition and evaluated on parameters like service levels, financial and institutional capacity and past track records.
I have consulted all the states twice, thrice, consulted municipal commissioners, had interaction with mayors, elected representatives of people. We need people's participation and cooperation. We need smart cities require smart leadership, smart people. Without their cooperation, this cannot be successful.
The centre earmarked 48,000 crore rupees for developing 100 smart cities. Each city gets central assistance of 100 crore rupees per year for 5 years. In the first year, the government will select 24 smart cities.
A smart city would ensure core infrastructure and give a clear, quality, decent life to the citizens and enable a clean and sustainable environment and application of smart solutions. We are not just aiming at making our urban landscape look fanciful and flashy, and the prime objective is to enhance the quality of urban life.
Smart city features will include promoting mixed land use, housing and inclusiveness, walkable localities, open spaces, transport options, citizen-friendly governance and an identity. Each state will get at least one smart city with a quality of life that the government hopes will be comparable to European cities. The top 20 cities will be financed this year. The rest will be asked to get their act together, focus on deficiencies and prepare for round 2. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
ISRO has successfully launched its 25th communication satellite, the GSAT-6, from Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh today. The geosynchronous satellite was propelled by satellite launcher GSLV-D6. Around 17 minutes after the liftoff, the GSAT-6 was put into a geosynchronous transfer orbit, making the mission a success. This marks the second successful GSLV launch using an indigenous cryogenic engine. The mission life of the satellite is 9 years. The heavyweight Indian rocket weighs 416 tons and is nearly 50 meters tall. The satellite will help India's strategic forces to communicate with each other on secure lines using special small handheld devices. We'll have a quick break here, but still ahead, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is in Bihar on Nitish Kumar's invitation. Details of that ahead.
Protest violence hits Gujarat. Quota agitation by patidars, a flashpoint. Where are the fault lines? And what's the intent? Watch the big picture at 6:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated the Global Call to Action Summit on mother and child deaths. 24 countries are taking part in the summit that seeks to end preventable maternal and child deaths. Addressing the summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India was on its way to achieve the Millennium Development Goals on under 5 mortality rate. He also extended his government's commitment to the global community's initiatives to combat maternal and neonatal tetanus deaths.
This two-day summit, celebrating the achievements of the participating countries in the area of maternal and child health, was conceptualized to accelerate joint leadership for ending preventable deaths among mothers and children.
Days after sharing the stage in the national capital, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal arrived in Patna today on the invitation of his Bihar counterpart Nitish Kumar. Kejriwal is seen cozying up to Nitish in an attempt to support him before the assembly elections in Bihar. While addressing a seminar, Kejriwal also called Nitish a good administrator and took on Prime Minister Narendra Modi over the recent DNA test jibe. He also alleged that the financial package announced for Bihar is an effort to purchase votes. Both the chief ministers have come together against Modi on the issue of center-state relations.
थोड़े दिन पहले एक स्पेशल पैकेज का अनाउंसमेंट किया गया, लेकिन जिस तरह से वो अनाउंस किया मैंने देखा टीवी के ऊपर, बताओ 60,000 करोड़, 70,000 करोड़, मुझे लगा कि बिहार के लोगों को खरीदने की कोशिश की जा रही है क्या? तो जो सुशासक की उनकी छवि है, वो छवि गलत छवि नहीं है, उनके काम की वजह से, उनके अभी तक जो लोगों ने बिहार की जनता के लिए किया है, इसी वजह से उन्हें सुशासक कहा जाता है.
And with that, let's get you some more news from across the country in Nationwide. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi took a jibe at the Jammu and Kashmir government during a public rally in Pulwama. He accused the Mufti government of being opportunistic. Rahul Gandhi's visit to Kashmir comes in the backdrop of repeated ceasefire violations along the LOC by Pakistani troops. 2 more army veterans have joined the protest over the one rank one pension. They have now threatened to boycott the 50th anniversary celebration of the 1965 war against Pakistan. The protests have been on at Jantar Mantar for the past 75 days. 5 people have died after a train ran over them in Patna late last night. The incident took place near Rajendra Nagar station. 2 of the bodies are yet to be identified by the police. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj ended her 2-nation visit to Egypt and Germany today. She held wide-ranging talks with her German counterpart Frank-Walter Steinmeier to boost cooperation in several fields. She also reached out to the Indian diaspora in Germany.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj taking up from where Prime Minister Narendra Modi had left during his Germany visit, reviewing the impact of decisions taken during his visit with the German counterpart Frank-Walter Steinmeier. India and Germany underlined the need for closer security and defense cooperation in the wake of escalating terrorism across the world. Regional issues including Indo-Pak relations also figured in the assessment. Also raised during the discussions were specific proposals including $1 billion financial commitment by Germany for an ambitious solar rooftop project. German participation in projects like high-speed rail corridors, raising speed of existing trains, Ganga rejuvenation plan, Smart Cities project and skill development schemes and cooperation in the cyber security. Swaraj raised problems faced by Indian students in Germany, including residency status, renewal of visa and accommodation facilities. She also reached out to the Indian diaspora in Berlin, telling them about the opportunities in changing India.
आज देश में बहुत अवसर पैदा हो गए हैं, इसलिए जो वतन लौटना चाहते हैं उनके लिए समय है लौटने का, और जो यहाँ रहना चाहते हैं उनसे भी निकलना चाहिए.
The visit to Germany outlined a broader perspective on boosting bilateral ties before German Chancellor Angela Merkel's visit to India later in October. An announcement on Germany's plan to promote Indian languages, including Sanskrit, is expected during Merkel's visit. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
A non-bailable arrest warrant has been issued against former Pakistani Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani and Pakistan People's Party leader Makhdoom Amin Fahim by an anti-corruption court in Karachi. The order was issued after the Federal Investigation Agency filed a charge sheet related to a multi-million rupee scandal in the Trade Development Authority. They are allegedly involved in approving and disbursing fraudulent trade subsidies worth millions to several fake companies through fictitious claims and backdated checks. The court had issued arrest warrants against both leaders earlier as well. And now let's get you more updates from across the globe in Global Buzz. Close to 50 migrants were found dead in a boat off the coast of Libya. The discovery was made during a rescue operation that saved 430 others. It wasn't immediately clear how the migrants died, although asphyxiation was suspected. Thousands of migrants have died so far after setting sail from Libya recently. 3 prominent Hong Kong student leaders were charged over their roles in the pro-democracy movement of 2014. The 3 are accused of climbing a fence to break into a government compound at the start of the demonstrations. The protests against proposed changes to Hong Kong electoral system began last September. 12 people were detained in China for negligence over massive explosions that killed 139 people in Tianjin earlier this month. 11 officials and port executives were accused of dereliction of duty or abuse of power. Yesterday, the head of the work safety regulator was sacked for suspected corruption, but without making an explicit link to the 12th of August chemical blast. China today launched a Yaogan 27 remote sensing satellite into the Taiyuan Satellite Launch Center in North China's Shaanxi province. The satellite is expected to be used for scientific experiments, land survey, crop yield estimate and disaster prevention. However, analysts say that the spacecraft is intended to operate as a military spy satellite. And finally, let's get you some updates now from the world of sports and SportsBeat. Indian athlete Vikas Gowda has qualified for the discus throw final at the World Athletics Championships. He qualified despite a below-par effort of 63.86 meters. Ranking 7th of the 12 qualifiers, he will now be seen at the finals in the iconic Bird's Nest in Beijing on Saturday. The Madras High Court has rejected a petition by the Chennai Super Kings to stay its 2-year suspension from the IPL. The court has also directed the BCCI and others to submit their counter affidavit on the petition. The next hearing has been scheduled for the 23rd of September. South African captain A.B. de Villiers became the fastest player to score 8,000 ODI runs. He reached the milestone in his 190th innings, 18 innings faster than that of the previous record holder Sourav Ganguly. De Villiers achieved the feat in the match against New Zealand in Durban on Wednesday. Manchester United striker Wayne Rooney scored a hat-trick against Club Brugge to help his team secure a place in the Champions League. His hat-trick has ended a 10-game goal drought for Rooney. With the help of the 4-0 win, United has now secured its place in the group stage following last season's absence. And that's all we have here on the news at 6. But coming up next on Rajya Sabha TV is The Big Picture. Stay with us.